do you like war bikers? And then you're going to like Octarius book 2. What it contains is some rogue trader rules. You got a blood axes orc supplement codex, and the most important thing is a Speed Freeks Army of Renown. I don't know if it's really a renowned army or more of like a big gas guzzling Mad Max nonsense army. But that's what we got in this book, as well as, of course, the campaign rules and some more information. There's really two important things in this book, and it's orc related. You got the Blood Axis Codex supplement. It's much more of a utility-based supplement, where if you want to use a small section of Blood Axis to either help you control some of the board, do some little bit shooty tricks, everything else like that, that's kind of where it sits at. My favorite thing in it is that there's a relic for a sharpshooter, like a gun that shoots a lot of shots, stack of shots that you can target anything, so you can ignore the lookout, sir, and it can do more wounds on 6s, so it's like 14 shots, which is just a huge amount. Now, of course, we're talking about orcs here, so that's not as many hits as you want on it, but I do find it very interesting that you basically can sharpshooter someone like he's a super sniper. Plus a couple layers of good stratagems that are for orcs, either for faster assault movements. There's some other tricks like being able to shoot people coming out of reserves or coming in from deployment out of reserves. So a lot of kind of neat stuff on here. I wish there was a little bit more, but it's still kind of neat. Especially there's one that I think will be powerful for things where you're able to do you can do an action for a mission and you're still able to shoot or assault or shoot or do things, which is very important sometimes in this game where you have a lot of the secondaries are action based. So it's a neat little supplement. It feels very fluffy and involved on it. I don't know if it's necessarily going to show up a lot or going to be the best thing in the metagame, but it's neat. I think it's a pretty cool addition. So right now, orcs are very much into the freebooters, buggy apocalypse. So right now, probably not. It's interesting. It could be a nice little addition to there to help you push back if we get an army that does a lot of deep striking or a lot of little deployment tricks, or you need to have someone that shoots characters out. So it could be really interesting for that. Currently, I just don't see it right now, other than for some cute little tricks, because the army is so heavily focused on buggies and damage potential. But like I said, it is neat. You could see some stuff on there. It's hard for me to really justify when orcs are really involved with buggies and going fast. Which leads me to the most important thing in this book. What makes this whole Army Renown important is that it's a different shift in how you normally would have the Speed Freeks. The current build is activating off of airplanes, and this army doesn't need that. All the bonuses are really pushing it into a direction that feels, I feel it feels more orky. It's almost like you've gotten a specialist mob, but your whole army is a specialized mob, which I think is really interesting. If the game shifts and we see a big nerf towards freebooters, this might be the way they're going to go, because very similarly, they like to use buggies, they like to use all the other options, but you don't need to rely on airplanes to activate a army-wide bonus. It's a much different kind of setup, which I find interesting, and it makes me feel like it's a much more orky army. That's why I like it. But it's a real simple Army of Renown. Basically, it's saying you got to take wagons, bikes, and aircraft, and Speed Freak models. I think it's wagons, bikes, spirit, and you get access to a new warlord trait, which is very powerful. You get access to 2 upgrades, which are okay, and then you get access to a slew of stratagems, and you basically lose your culture, which if you know orc, they have a culture that gives them extra set of rules based on the clan they're in. So you lose that culture benefit, but you don't lose your clan benefit, which means that some of the things that are attached to clans stay there, but you lose anything else. But you gain a pretty awesome culture, or like their culture called Adrenaline Junkies, which I think is the most interesting thing. You get a +1 attack when you charge or get charged. You can move, advance, and then you count as moving normal when you shoot, which is very powerful when you look at a bunch of bikers or war bikers that go 20 inches and shoot you with guns with DACA guns. Now, you don't have the ability to assault or advance and charge afterwards, but you can basically cover the entire table and move wherever you want. The final kind of like big awesomeness is that your bikes get objective secured, which means that also at the same time, your Outrider detachment to activate this stuff, you don't lose 3 command points for one if your Warlord's in it. This is all amazing pieces and feels very orky on it. I think the thing that makes me sad on all this is that while wagons are a part of it, you can't put any boys in wagons to make them go with this direction, and the wagons themselves are just not nearly as interesting as the other options in the book. So it's just it feels like a very it's a very themed army that feels very orky. So what else you got in the book? You've of course got the Rogue Trader rules, which are tweaks off the rules that came out with the Rogue Trader Kill Team box set. So instead of a named character, you now have a default Rogue Trader with a couple different options and a default Voidsman at arms, instead of the kind of locked in set you had in the book. I don't think it's going to shift anything in the game or meta. You get some warlord traits, you get some stratagems. It feels to me that it's something that you could use for campaign settings or those other kind of rules that you want to kind of build this rogue trader space combat thing with them, and now you have rules that allows you not to have to use an actual name character or not. So I find that pretty interesting. I think that's all right. It's I don't always like it in a campaign book, but I guess this is a campaign setting, so they got to have some rules in there for it. If you want to play these Orc Army, you want to play that specific one, and a lot of events kind of want you to have the book to have it, then I guess so. I'm kind of disappointed in the overall lack of match play rules for what is a hardbound book on there. I know that I'm one of those players that if I play an army, I'm going to buy the books for that army, just because that's the way I end up playing most of the time. So I don't know if the match play rules are pretty light, and one of the sets in there are not exactly the most exciting for a bigger army. I kind of wish that we had a Black Templar thing in here or something else out in here to help circumvent some of the cost and campaign book on it. But if you play the campaign, there's a lot of campaign stuff in here, so you can like that stuff. But I don't normally play the campaigns. You want to check out the other Octarius campaign book 1 review? Click on this link here and check on that one and see all the fun match play nonsense in that book. Until next time, Scope Boy.